When we travel, there are moments when we wake up and don't quite know where we are. In this cottage, the sound of the wind and the morning light coming through the window gently pull us back to reality. Today is our second day in Iceland. We're heading out to explore the Golden Circle. The Golden Circle is one of the most popular areas in the country. Within 2 hours from Reykjavik, we can find a mid-ocean ridge, geysers, hot springs, volcanic lakes, and massive waterfalls, all in one place. We don't have much time today, and there's a reason for that. The weather looks good only in the morning. We know in Iceland, the weather is always part of the decision. So today, we're focusing on things we can only see in this country. Our first stop is Gullfoss, about 40 minutes northeast from the cottage. Gullfoss is a two-tiered waterfall. The lower fall disappears into a canyon, and from some angles it feels as if the water might pull us in. Let's see. This feels less like a waterfall and more like an explosion of water crashing into a crack in the earth. What's striking is that there are no high mountains nearby. Yet this much water keeps flowing. Somewhere beyond what we can see, a massive glacier must be feeding it. We already feel overwhelmed, but we decide to go down. The first thing that greets us is the rising mist. For a moment, it almost looks like the waterfall is flowing upward. This is the first waterfall. And beyond it, the second one. The mist rising toward us is proof of what lies hidden below. That's where we started. Next, we're planning to visit the Rift Valley. If the weather allows, we might stop by a geothermal area along the way, where geysers still erupt. This is the geyser parking lot. The geyser called Geyser is actually dormant now. The active one is right next to it, Strokker. It's smaller in scale, but it erupts roughly every 10 minutes, which is why people tend to gather here. Watching the eruption together with the cheers of the crowd feels like part of the experience. It's almost as if the geyser has a sense of timing, waiting until people gather, then erupting right on cue. For a moment, it feels like nature, and people are sharing the same stage. As we walk further, we come across geothermal pools. The water is so clear it almost draws us in. But the heat makes it impossible for life to exist here. Unlike the geyser, these pools feel distant, almost as if they quietly reject us. I imagine the Golden Circle road would be far more rugged. I pictured winding mountain roads cutting through rocky terrain. But in reality, the road is surprisingly flat. This is supposed to be a place where the earth is being pulled apart. And yet, perhaps even the mid-ocean ridge, thousands of meters deep underwater, looks something like this at the surface. We've arrived. The Rift Valley lies beyond the path leading out from the visitor centre. To be honest, I imagined something much more dramatic. That was clearly my mistake. When we think about it, this is a place where tectonic plates are separating. So maybe it makes sense that there are no towering mountains here. The reason the rift is visible at the surface is because volcanic activity beneath the ground pushed it up this far, almost by chance. Walking here, I can't help but feel grateful that it surfaced at all. Otherwise, this is something we'd only see from a deep-sea submersible. As we walk, another realization sets in. I assumed the narrow path between the cliffs was the rift itself. But that's not quite right. The rock wall on the left belongs to the North American plate, and the wide wetland to the right, together with the rock beside it, forms the rift zone. The rift isn't a line. It's hundreds of meters wide. Realizing how small my original image was, I can't help but smile. From here, we walk back through the wetland. Just ahead is a place where one of the world's oldest parliaments once gathered. This building marks the spot. because this land was too wet for farming. It belonged to no one. That made it neutral ground. And that neutrality is why this place was chosen. The rift created the wetland, and the wetland made the parliament possible. The way nature and people shape each other is fascinating. Now, we're heading toward Kerið, a volcanic lake. When we checked the sky at the Rift Valley parking lot, the southern horizon was still clear. So we decided to go. We're almost there. It looks like we made it just before the clouds moved in. This place isn't a crater formed by an explosion. After the magma beneath the ground drained away, the surface quietly collapsed. What we see now is a landscape shaped by long silence. The low, rounded hill in the distance was formed in the opposite way, by magma flowing gently from the summit. Together, these two landforms quietly tell us that this entire area was once a pathway for magma. Looking back on the day, a waterfall that makes us imagine the size of an unseen glacier, geysers that hint at restless activity underground, a rift valley where we can sense tectonic plates drifting apart by just a few millimeters each year, and a volcanic plain marked by the traces of unpredictable magma. The Golden Circle for me is a place where the invisible becomes visible.